Exec, el Exec, el Vele, el Vele, el Vele, el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 142 of the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, Velez. How we doing? First thing we got to talk about, there's a couple things that have happened over the last 48 hours on the sports world, including the Oakland Athletics playing their last series and today their last game, which they won ever at the Coliseum. Really historic day in baseball, considering that the Oakland A's used to be a powerhouse of the MLB back in the day, especially in the 80s and 70s, early 90s. It's been in a downturn forever at this point since the Moneyball era. And for an owner to basically forsake his fans, forsake, the history of the team, to move it to Las Vegas to look for greener pastures, economically, financially, especially with a talented roster that they do have, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's really interesting to see that something so historic like the Oakland A's, same thing that we saw with like the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA, and even the St. Louis Rams in the NFL, or the Oakland, you can go to the same Oakland area, the Oakland Raiders, such a team with such history, to move to Las Vegas, and now a baseball team is now moving over there. What I find interesting is that even with all the talent that they have, that they couldn't find a way to maybe stay in the Coliseum, although it's also considered one of the worst stadiums in baseball just because of like the conditions that it's in. People were stealing seats to take home. You saw the seats rusted from the bottom. It was, bittersweet, new horizons, of course, for the franchise, but at the same time, such a piece of history of baseball, considering that the only true classic cathedrals of baseball that exist is Fenway. Even the old Yankee Stadium, they don't use it anymore. It's the new one. It's Fenway, Wrigley, maybe Great American Ballpark for the Reds. I would say maybe the Pittsburgh Pirates with PNC, and then the Dodgers with Dodger Stadium. That's pretty much it when you think about the cathedrals of baseball. And everything has gotten updated and new and everything like that, and that's perfectly fine. But at the same time, like, don't take it away from a city. And for the owner to do that, especially with a talented team that he has, because of all the bad seasons and first-round picks and, high first-round picks that they've had, now they're kind of panning out. You look at Brent Rooker, you look at Shea Landon-Galeers, you look like a guy like Lawler, which I think is going to be their super uber star, him and Brent Rooker. But people like Daz Cameron and, Nate and Allen and stuff like that. So, you have a JJ Bleday, you have a lot of talent. Geloff, Soderstrom, you have a lot of talent. Mason Miller on the pitching side as a closer. So to me, I think that it's a bittersweet day in baseball, that the last game in the Coliseum was ever played. But at least they won, and they didn't have a horrible season. They went the White Sox. So, coming from the season they had last year, which was abysmal is not even the strongest word that you should use. Putrid, I think. Moronic. It's especially considering that the scouts are still there. They still scout great talent. You look at a guy like Matt Olson, Sean Murphy. You look at people at other other teams that have come from that system in that organization, and they're thriving quite well, actually. So, yeah, it's bittersweet, but it happens. Moving on to NASCAR, they're at Kansas this week. Previous winners Tyler Reddick from earlier in the season. Now that Kyle Larson is in, I think that he's going to want to assert dominance. Now that he doesn't have to worry about the cutoff line, at least for this week. So he might try to get a win again. I could see the Fords trying to make some forceful position, but I think this weekend, from what I think the strengths of the cars are, drivers, I think that Toyota is bound to have a winner here. Sooner or later, either it is Tyler Reddick, maybe it is a Denny Hamlin. It could be somebody else. It could be a Martin Truex Jr., even though I believe he's eliminated. I think Tyler probably has the biggest, from the Toyota side, probably the biggest chance. But Hendrick is being very, very strong. They still have all 4 guys in. So, for an organization to have 4 cars in the playoff race already making through first cuts, Bowman, Larson, Byron, and I believe Chase also made it as well on points, it makes it really difficult to see how those 4 cars don't make it, at least 1 or 2 of them, to the end. Because once you get past cuts, your talent and how good your team is what takes over. Then you need a little bit of luck on your side, but it's Hendrick, so they always are good positions. So they kind of carry luck on their side anyway. But Toyota and Ford could definitely, I could see Penske getting a win. I could see RFK getting a surprise win. When you look at other people on Chevys, besides Hendrick, looking at RCR, I just don't. I think the Chevys are with Hendrick. I think those are the I think if there's going to be a Chevy to win it, it'd be a Hendrick car. So for who I'm going to win, I'm going to leave it up to Tyler Reddick, possibly Joey Logano, and one of the Hendrick boys. I don't see Bowman, maybe Chase or Byron, because Larson might not, he might want to go back-to-back, but, might not be in the cards. So I'm going to go one of the Hendrick boys, if Byron or Chase Elliott. It'd be a surprise if Bowman won, even though he's been running well, really well, especially in the playoffs, these first 3 races. But at the same time, I'm if you look at that team, the weakest link is Bowman. Now, he did have a broken back, so if he's fully recovered from that and he's ready to really tussle it up with the big boys, especially on his team, which 2 of them have championships already, I think that actually, 2 of them have championships already. I think that it'd be better for the team, in the better interest of the team. And, of course, if he wins a championship out of nowhere and just has a great playoff run, we'll be talking different about that team and that number going back into high regard in the NASCAR realms in this era after Jimmy left, and Jimmy left that number with 7 championships. So I think it's going to be an interesting race. I haven't been able to see the races live because I'm watching football, which is what we're going to talk about next. If we go to Bills Jaguars, right, the Monday night games, I want to say something about the Bills, and we're going to get into stats and everything, but the Bills have shown this season that basically they don't give an F who you are, what you think. I think that there's still a little bit of holes on the defense, but they're playing so well so far that you can't really nitpick that type of stuff. But I think later in the season, the loss of a Matt Milano at middle linebacker is gonna hurt him eventually. Maybe in the playoffs would suck, because They're playing like the best team in the NFL right now. The thing I want to say about them before we get into the stats is that they're dominating teams on the ground. Like, they're really running the football. They're making a conservative effort, a really like strong effort to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible. And I think what that does, it settles down Josh. Doesn't make him feel like he has to be Superman. Also lets you bleed clock and sustain drives. And with a guy like James Cook, which, runs a borderline 4-3, he runs a 4-4-1, and can catch out the backfield like a wide receiver, can run routes like a wide receiver, but also can run in between the tackles. I think it's a real advantage for Josh Allen to be able to pick his spots passing, be more deliberate, be more cerebral. And I think over the years he's learned that. And now without a Stephon Diggs to pressure him into targets, you're seeing guys being well evened out in the targeting department. It's not like 12-3. It's not nothing like that. We're going to get into the box score and we're going to see that. Guys like Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman as the season goes on, Dalton Kincaid as the season goes on, I see them getting a lot more involved. And this offense, especially on the passing side, being a lot balanced when it comes to who's getting the ball. I think it's going to be based on who's open instead of like, oh, that's just my guy, I'm just going to throw it up to him, which is kind of how it was with Stephon Diggs last year. And the year before, like, it was sometimes like he would force it to Stephon because he knew Stephon, like, could make the play. But at the same time, like, sometimes you just got to take the play that's there and keep the line moving. But, they won 47-10 over the Jaguars. We're going to talk about the Jaguars right now, actually. Trevor Lawrence, 21 for 38, 178, a touchdown, an interception, 4 sacks for minus 36 yards, a QBR of 19.8, 65.5 rating. Like, before we get into anything else, guys, I think it's over. I think at this point it's time to like not look at coaching, not look at weapons, not look at I think it's Trevor. And for a guy that's 6'5", borderline 6'6", has a cannon of an arm, and has everything you kind of want physically from a quarterback, especially taking him at the number 1 pick, like, it has not clicked for him. And he was the last quarterback in his draft class to not be traded. Like, he's the only one that stayed with his original team. Every other one has gotten traded, and some of them are bench warmers. So, to me, this speaks volumes on the fact that either he can't read defenses, he hasn't reined in the arm yet, he can't process the way that a CJ processes, or a Burrow, a Mahomes. And I'm not even talking about processing at that elite level, but I'm processing at a borderline level, a Dak Prescott, a Jalen Hurts, I'm not talking about, if you process like CJ, I mean, duh, but like, process normal. Boom, timing, get the ball out, on time, on target, move the ball, move the chain, score in the red zone. None of that's happening. 47-10 is alarming. And for a guy such a good coach as Doug Peterson to be going through this with such a high caliber, highly touted quarterback that he saw talent in and he was going to fix because of the Urban Meyer year, I don't think it's the Urban Meyer year anymore. I think it's just Trevor is not moving forward. And like, coming from me, who I've been a Trevor Lawrence fan since Clemson, it's a tough pill to swallow, kind of like the Deshaun Watson one. But 4 years is 4 years. They gave him $55 million. Like, he has to put up or shut up at this point. Because, like, if they keep going the way they're going, they're 0-3. It is very rare to make it to the playoffs at 0-3. And with the people that they got to face, it's not getting any easier. Like, if we look at their schedule, I mean, they got Texans next. They might get destroyed in that game. Then they got the Colts. Maybe they win. Bears, depends on how Caleb's playing. Patriots, that defense going to eat them up, even though they have no offense. The Packers are going to destroy them. The Eagles are going to destroy them. Vikings are going to destroy them. Lions, Texans again. The Titans, maybe they get a win. The Jets are playing well. The Raiders, maybe they get a win. The Titans again. The Colts, maybe. Like, that's how they end it. Right now they're looking like at a 5-6 win season at best. It's not looking good. So I think Trevor has to do some soul searching. If not, like, I think it's, you got to question whether is he the right guy. Like, at this point, is he the right guy? So, but Travis Etienne, 11 carries for 68 yards, so they can't run the ball. So the offensive line is bad, which also affects Trevor Lawrence. Especially against this team. You're not going to run the ball against this Buffalo team. They're pretty good. Christian Kirk was the leading receiver, 79 yards on 8 receptions on 10 targets. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, he caught 5 balls for 48 yards and 9 targets. Gabe Davis caught 2 balls for 18 yards on 6 targets. Parker Washington had 3 targets. Travis Etienne had 6 targets, caught 4 balls for 17 yards. So, and the one that caught the touchdown was Brenton Strange, their tight end. Not even Evan Ingram because he's hurt. But then you look at the defense, and the defense is not really doing anything. Did they get a sack? No. Did they get a turnover? No. So nobody's doing nothing on either side of the ball. And that's honestly embarrassing to a team that maybe we saw coming on the up and up after reaching the playoffs last year. So, that's tough for the last 2 years. So we go to the Bills, and the Bills just 23 for 30 for Josh Allen, 263. So not throwing the ball 40 times like he was doing last year. 23 for 30, really efficient, 263, an average of 8.8 yards an attempt, QBR of 98.3, really high, a rating of 142.1, really high. He ran for 44 yards on 6 carries. James Cook, they ran for 120. They didn't even run the ball that much this game. They ran for 122 yards, and James Cook only ran for 39 on 11 carries. Like, he was averaging 3.5 yards a carry. Ray Davis ran for 22. Ty Johnson ran for 18. So there was not a big running game. But then you got Khalil Shakir with 72 yards on 6 targets. You got James Cook, 48 yards on 5 targets, 4 receptions. Khalil Shakir caught 6. You have Dalton Kincaid, 3 catches for 41 yards on 5 targets. You're seeing the targets. Ty Johnson got 3 targets. Now Keon Coleman catching a touchdown, and that's his only 1 target for 24 yards. I think that at this point, and Curtis Samuel, same thing, 3 yards, 22 yards, 3 targets, 22 yards. Matt Collins, 1 catch, 16 yards. I think at this point, like, Keon Coleman should be getting some more looks. The guy's giant, 6'4", athletic, can run a little bit, can, route run, and can out-jump people. His best asset is the Drake London asset, which is like, let me catch the ball over the top, over your head. So I feel like as the season goes on, Keon will become a bigger part of the offense. But the revelation, is Khalil Shakir. And, coming out of Memphis, which I believe that's where it came from, if I'm not mistaken. Let me not get that. Boise State. Coming out of Boise State, like, he had talent. But, like, on a team with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, like, you just couldn't see. You saw them spurts. But now I believe he's going to become possibly his number 1 scrimmage guy. When I say that, is like Keon Coleman might be his big play dude, but Khalil's going to do those, 2-step slants. that in cut for 5 yards. You know, those dirty yards, those Amon-Ra St. Brown type of yards. So I think he's going to get a lot more targets, and whoever has him in fantasy is good. And for the betting people, I think he's going to be that guy with the receptions this year and targets. So 47-10. I mean, the defense. I mean, if we go to the defense, you know, they had 5 sacks, so they dominated. Vaughn had one. AJ Epinesa had one. Jamarcus Ingram had one. Casey Toohill and Joe Andreessen. No, wait, not him. Javon Solomon. So they had pretty good. They had interceptions. DeMar Hamlin caught his first interception ever. You know, so they had everything you needed to, and they recovered a fumble. So they did everything they needed, and it was an efficient win, 47-10 in the fourth. In the fourth quarter, people, you know, the bench was already playing. Mitchell Trubisky, Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, the rookie. You know, but 47-10, that is an ass kicking of epic proportions. Now we go to the next game, which was the exciting game. Commanders-Bengals. Commanders win 38-33, but that's not the story. The story is that I told you so. That's the story. Because I said this draft night. I said, if I'm really looking at how they play, where they played, situationally, conference, you know, opponent strength, I thought Jaden Daniels was the more prepared quarterback. Just like CJ. CJ had played a ton at Ohio State. Well, so had Jaden Daniels. He played at Arizona State for Herm Edwards and then came to LSU to play for Kelly. So, like, to basically chalk up his numbers to like, he had 2 elite receivers and like he can run better than he can pass. Having that type of thinking and not watching the games, that's why they were comparing him to Lamar. You can't compare this kid to Lamar because Lamar couldn't pass like this coming out of college. He had the arm, but he didn't have the accuracy. Like, when you drop 2 gorgeous, and I mean beautiful, fade routes, like go balls, just like he did in college, both to Terry McLaurin, finally wakes him up, finally says, oh no, I have a legit number 1 receiver, one of the best receivers in the NFL for the last 5 years on my team. Let me utilize him. And getting the offense rolling, getting the run game rolling with Austin Eckler, even though he got a concussion, and Brian Robinson. The questions are always going to be on the defensive side of the ball with this team, especially in the back end, just like the Giants, which we're going to talk about for the Thursday night game. But like what you see from Jaden Daniels, the running, we knew that was coming. We knew that would translate because the speed will translate. He's fast, really twitchy. That's why you compare him to Lamar. But the throwing, the not just the ability, but the courage. The courage on the last on a third down to, hey, I'm getting blitz here. It's an all-out blitz. I'm gonna trust my running back to get the inside rusher, and I'm gonna be accountable for the guy that's coming off the edge, and I'm gonna get the ball out before I get hit, even though I know I'm gonna get a lick in. Like, they're gonna hit me. And this man calmly takes the snap. Brian Robinson or McNichols, the rookie, out of Boise State. McNichols blocks the inside rusher, which I believe was Frankie Louvu. I mean, my bad. Frankie Louvu plays for the Washington Commanders. I believe Jermaine Pratt. And then he takes the corner because the safety or the corner's coming out of the off the edge. And Jaden knowing that he has a one-on-one with Terry McLaurin on the outside, stares it down the barrel, knows he's gonna get destroyed by this dude. This dude is coming full speed off the edge, and he has bad intentions on his mind. And this man to just let this ball go, and the placement of this ball 40 yards downfield. He put it within a foot of the sideline. The only place Terry could catch it. And he put it right in the breadbasket. 2 feet down, we take the lead, and then they close it out. But what I'm seeing from him, and honestly from the Commanders, once they switched owners, you saw like a shift. And the full shift came when Dan Quinn came in and Cliff Kingsbury. The offense is a legit offense. Oh, well, Cliff, he was Texas. He was Mahomes' coach, and he coached Caleb and Kyler. It's like, yeah, but one thing is to develop an offense on paper. I said this last episode. The other thing is to have your 23-year-old rookie quarterback execute in the fourth quarter against a team that has been to the Super Bowl in the last 3 years. Against a top 5 quarterback on the other side, a top 5 receiver, and honestly, a D-line that has some dudes, Hendrickson, Jermaine Pratt, So what I'm saying is, I told you this that this could happen draft night. I said, if the Commanders get Jaden Daniels, I would not be surprised if Jaden Daniels is way more advanced and prepared than Caleb Williams as we get through the season. Even with him having Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, you did not invest in the offensive line. The one thing that Jaden Daniels can say is that he gets protected and he has a running game. So that gives your rookie quarterback a little bit more, not rest, but, assurance that when it is a passing down, okay, now I can do my job. I don't have to worry about first down, must throw. Oh, why? Because we're getting 1.5 yards a carry, and we're running into stone. Cowboys. That's what it does to your rookie quarterback. It gives them assurance that, okay, since I have a running game, when it comes to passing downs, I just have to do my job. I don't have to play hero ball. And when the hero plays show up and show themselves, it happens within the flow of the game. It's not forced. Okay? So let's get into this game. 38-33, Washington Commanders in a win in Cincy. This is on the road against the Cincy team that was 0-2 and looking not to go 0-3. Pretty impressive. So Jaden goes 21 for 23, 90. The guy has a 90.3 accuracy. He throws 2 touchdowns and then runs for 1. So he has 3 touchdowns. You know how many incompletions this guy had? 2. He had more touchdowns accounted for than incompletions. But we saw this at LSU. What was he known for? Oh, he is the most accurate deep ball thrower in the draft. You're seeing it. This guy's not dinking and dunking. There's no dinking and dunking in this offense, especially this last game. He's getting comfortable. And when he gets comfortable, you saw what happened at LSU. That boy put up highs. He brought the Heisman home. You get what I'm saying? So he went 21 for 23, 254. So not a crazy passing game, but a really efficient. Average 11 yards per attempt or per completion, 2 touchdowns. He caught 2 sacks, but it was only minus for 6 yards. He had a QBR of 93 and a rating of 141.7 in his 3rd game as a NFL starter on the road against Cincinnati. That's what's crazy about it. Because one thing is to do this against a Giants team, the Panthers when they had Bryce Young, because now they're different. You look at another team, the Jaguars, I guess now you could say. But no. This is against a legit team that has been to the playoffs multiple years in a row. Has a top 5 quarterback. Honestly, the top played quarterback in the NFL. Now that, well, actually second because Dak got $60 million. But one of the guys that's going for the MVP, one of the best receivers in the NFL on the other side, and the defense, even though they gave up 33 points, Washington came back with 38. So Jaden didn't run for that much. He had 39 yards on 12 carries. Austin Eckler ran three times for 35 yards, along of 24. So he was effective, along with a touchdown. Jaden Daniels ran in for a wide open touchdown. And then Brian Robinson went 16 for 33 and a touchdown. Now they can't run. It wasn't a super running game, but they still ran the ball 32 times. They passed the ball 23 times. So there's still there's an effort to run the ball. There's a focus on like, hey, even though we don't move it running the ball that much because they average 3.4 yards a carry, let's at least give the defense a thought that we're still gonna run it. Might not work, but we're still gonna use it because we're not just gonna be like, all right, Jaden, we're gonna make you drop back 45 times. And throw the ball 45 times, and whatever happens, happens. No. That's not what you do to your rookie quarterback. Bears, that's not what you do. You give him a balanced attack so he can ease into the offense, and once he gets comfortable, then maybe you line him up for 20 straight dropbacks when you call for it. But he has to be in a rhythm. He has to be comfortable. So, the passing game, Terry McLaurin went 4 catches for 100 yards even, along a 55, which was the first drop, with the first like bomb. 6 targets. I think those targets will go up, but Jaden's not the type of guy to hyper target a dude because when he had Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors, he didn't hyper target one of them. He definitely divided the wealth. Luke McCaffrey caught 3 balls for 44 yards. Zach Ertz went 5 for 38. He's his safety valve. Noe Brown went 3 for 29. Austin Eckler 2 for 22. De'Ami Brown 2 for 16. Zach Ertz fumbled. He didn't lose it though. I believe he's the guard. Yeah, the guard fumbled. But he recovered it. Bobby had 8 tackles, led the team. Bobby Wagner. They had 2 sacks, half coming from Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler, and one coming from Javonte John Baptiste, the corner. Jerzon Newton hasn't done much, but I think he's going to ease into it and be a good player. Javonte John Baptiste is their D end. My bad. That was got confused there because they also have St. Just, which is a corner. But yeah, like they put Austin Eckler, he ran it back for 62 yards, the kickoff. So like that they use him in many ways. Now that he has a concussion, though, it's going to be interesting what they do at the running back position. I think McNichols will get a lot more looks. So let's go to the Bengals. What did the Bengals do? Were they horrible? Scored 33. Were they awful? No. 29 for 38, 324 yards. So he passed the 300 threshold. 3 touchdowns, no picks. 2 sacks for 12 yards, a QBR of 73, a rating of 127.5. It wasn't bad. It was just Jaden Daniels made more plays. And that's what the important thing here is. It's not, oh, the Bengals played bad. It was a bad game. No, they were desperate. 0-2. Got T. Higgins back. Had the whole team. And still lost at home while being desperate. That was just Jaden Daniels. Chase Brown, 7 carries for 62 yards. Zach Moss, 12 carries for 58 yards. There's the problem. You throw the ball 38 times, you only ran it 20. When your other team was running the ball more than passing it. But you have Joe Burrow, so I don't blame you. I don't blame Zach Taylor for that. Jamar went 6 for 118 and 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. Jamar type of day. Yosivash went 5 for 52 and a touchdown on 7 targets. Gesicki went 4 for 47 on 5 targets. T. Higgins went 3 for 39 on 6 targets. They didn't fumble. Jermaine Pratt led them in tackles along with Logan Wilson. Zach Carter got half a sack. Jay Tufele got half a sack. Trey Hendrickson got a sack. This was just a matter of fact that the Washington Commanders drove the ball down the field. They could drive the ball down the field. Not many times we've been able to say that in the last 10 years about the Washington football team, Commanders, or Red, So, in my opinion, I think that this is just a coming out party for Jaden Daniels. Everybody went crazy about it. But, you kind of saw it coming because, this kid has played a lot of college football. He's smart, really athletic, has an arm, has accuracy down the field. And it's just going to it was just going to be a matter of time till the talent showed up. Now, what a surprise that it happened in Cincy in a shootout against what I think is still a good team in the Bengals that has to figure out some things on defense for sure. And the loss of Jesse Bates is really showing up. But, this is more about the Washington Commanders than the Bengals. 2-1 for the Commanders. So, shout out. Good job, Jaden. All right, let's get to NCAA this weekend. T's and P's. Thoughts and prayers to all the people that are affected by Hurricane Helene. It's not. Her name is not Helene. I think it's Helene. It might be Helene. It's spelled like that. Maybe the E is silent. But, people in Tallahassee, people in Georgia, getting rain, storm surge, thoughts and prayers to all of you guys. Hurricanes are not fun, and especially when they're hitting you straight on. So we have wind here, we have rain here, but it was far enough away where it was not going to hurt us here in South Florida. But northern Florida is getting hit as we speak, and Georgia gets hit tomorrow. So, thoughts and prayers. Miami destroys Virginia Tech. Okay, to remain undefeated. Ole Miss versus Kentucky. I expect Ole Miss to come back with a vengeance. 4-0. They got to keep up with the Bamas. They got to keep up with Texas. So I think Ole Miss is going to destroy Kentucky. Hawkins is the new quarterback, not Jackson Arnold, I believe. Michigan, I believe, beats Minnesota. I think Oklahoma State beat Kansas State. This is 20 versus 23. Important game for playoff positioning in the Big 12. BYU versus Baylor. I'm going BYU, 22nd ranked team in the country, 4-0. I'm going Maryland over Indiana, even though Indiana's 4-0. I'm going to go Indiana. Indiana's a 7-point favorite. So I'm going to go Indiana there. Nebraska versus Purdue. I'm going Nebraska with Raiola. What else is there? Where are the real games at? USC, Wisconsin. I'm going USC. That's another conference matchup. It's in USC. Louisville, Notre Dame. I'm going Louisville. I just think, depending on Riley Leonard to just run the ball and not pass the ball at all, I think it's a disservice to the kid and being able to develop him. So I think Blah, I think his name is Blah. That's like the Louisville quarterback, Shaw. I think Shaw is gonna do better than Riley in this game. So I'm gonna go Louisville, even though it's in South Bend. Oklahoma beats Auburn, I believe, even though it's in it's at Auburn. Texas A&M beats Arkansas. I think TCU beats Kansas. I think Colorado beats UCF, even though UCF is 3-0. It's in UCF, but I think Colorado beats UCF. I think they get a new lease on confidence after this past win. I'm looking at Texas beats Mississippi State. I think it's going to be a massacre. I'm not sure if Quinn Ewers is coming back or if it's Archie again. FIU Louisiana Tech 1-2 versus 1-3. We're going FIU. It's in Pitbull Stadium, so we're going FIU there. You know, gotta represent. Ohio State versus Michigan State. Ohio State's gonna smack that ass. Clemson versus Stanford. I think Clemson smacks that ass. I think Klubnik has been playing pretty well the last few games. Iowa State versus Houston. Iowa State wins the Cyclones. Georgia, Alabama, number 2 versus number 4 in Tuscaloosa after a storm passes through. I'm going to be very honest. I want to go Georgia, right? I want to go Georgia. I believe Georgia has the better team. But if I'm looking at talent, Alabama with Jalen Milroe and Williams and Ryan Williams on the outside, I think I want to go Bama. And it's crazy to say because I love Kirby Smart. I love Carson Beck. It might be fool's gold, and Bama might, Bama might lose in bad fashion, but I doubt it. It's two very good teams, and it's gonna kind of determine this game right here determines later, depending on how they finish up, who gets the bid to go to the SEC championship and face Texas. So if Texas, goes undefeated like we predicted they're going to, even if they have one loss, I think they still go to the SEC championship. But I'm going to go Bama because it's in Tuscaloosa. It's number 2 versus number 4. I think Jalen Milroe, at this point, is more talented than Carson Beck. I've seen him longer. I've seen what he can do. Ryan Williams is a stud. So I'm going to go Bama. I'm going to go Bama over Georgia in a very close game. The spread is literally Georgia -2. So it's a pick 'em. Alabama's a +110. Total of 50 and a half. That's interesting. That would be 25-25. Still kind of a low-scoring game. But I'm going to go Bama. Illinois, Penn State. 4-0 versus 4-0. Man, this is a tough one. Because from what I've seen from Drew Adler, I think Illinois might have the better quarterback in Altmaier. Now, the better running back is definitely on the Penn State. And if we're talking about defense, definitely Penn State. So I'm going to go with Penn State. It's where the Nittany Lions play. It might be a whiteout, possibly. Might be a whiteout, which would be crazy. But, Illinois can surprise them. I wouldn't put it past them. You know what I'm saying? I would not put it past them if they upset them just because Penn State is known for letdowns. But I'm going to go Penn State at home. 4-0 versus 3-0, number 9 versus number 19 could mean a lot in the Big Ten. South Alabama, LSU, we're going LSU. FSU versus SMU. We're going SMU. They're 3-1. What else? Arizona, Utah. We're going Utah. And Oregon, UCLA. We're going Oregon, even though it's in UCLA. But we're going Oregon. So that's the NCAA. Let's move to the NFL. Tonight, Cowboys, Giants. Listen, I'm going to be very, and I'm talking about honest, okay? This, to me, is a tough game to pick. Yes, on one hand, the Giants have gotten absolutely booty whap spanked over the last 18 games against the Cowboys. I think they're 17-1, the Cowboys are, versus the Giants in the last 18 games with an average winning differential of 18 plus. So they've gotten spanked. But this year, the Cowboys' offensive line and defensive line can't stop a cold. They can't stop a pass rush because they cannot run the ball. They are 30th in running the ball. 30th in the league of 32. 30th in running the football. That is not winning football. You're not going to win just throwing the ball on first, second, and third down. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say this is such a tough game to pick is because you're going a team that can't run the ball and can't stop the run versus a team with an elite D-line that can definitely get after the quarterback and stop the run, and a somewhat competent running offense in the Giants. Now, what's the ultimate equalizer here where I still lean Cowboys? Daniel Jones. That is the equalizer. Because Daniel Jones can either be good or he could be abhorrently, abysmally bad. So, what I'm thinking, okay, the back end for the Giants, it's going to be a struggle between the offensive, defensive lines of the Cowboys and Giants, and then what back end holds their end of the bargain. Now, if I'm looking at back ends, I'd rather take the D-line for the New York Giants and then take the back end for the Dallas Cowboys, which is why if you're looking to bet on a Malik Neighbors, I don't think it'd be a smart idea, just because if he roams, he's still getting Lewis, Diggs, or Bland. There is no option where you can get a good matchup. They can move whoever against him and still have a legit back line. So, in my opinion, I think it's the Cowboys. I think it's a closer game than people think. I don't think this is a blowout at all because I think the Giants are going to run the ball with Devin Singletary. But when push comes to shove, I think that there's nobody on the Giants that can cover, nor Dory Jackson. So they can't cover CD. So it's CD, Dak, Micah, Trayvon Diggs versus Daniel Jones, Malik Neighbors, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns. That's it. That's your matchup. And what I'm thinking is because there is nobody that can cover CD or any, they don't have any other receivers, but I don't think maybe Brandon Cooks or Jalen Tolbert if he steps up. But I don't think that there's anybody the Giants can legitimately, nor Dory Jackson, remember. So he's hurt. So there's nobody that they can confidently be like, you know what? We're going to put, besides Deontay Banks, okay, besides Deontay Banks, the second-year player out of Maryland that came out last year, and Banks doesn't travel. He mainly plays safety. They got no Phillips, so they have no nickel. They don't have a Dory Jackson, so you don't got your best outside corner, and you don't have Phillips in your slot. And I think that's what Cowboys are gonna do. If they're smart, they're gonna put CD in the slot, never get pressed, have a free release, and go to town. But on the other side, what is the Dallas defense going to do against that running game? They cannot stop the run. So that's my conundrum for this game. I'm still going Dallas. I think it's going to be close. I might be leaning on taking if I was a betting man and placed like 30 bets on one game, which I'm not. I placed one, and I already placed it. I took CeeDee Lamb over receptions just because there's nobody that can cover him. It's at 6.5. I think that Dak is going to hyper target him, and I took the Cowboys to win, and that was it. That was the only two things I was really confident in. I was thinking about taking the Giants points plus 5.5, but like this can turn so bad so fast because if the Cowboys, let's say the Cowboys get the ball first, boom, 7-0. If that happens, then Daniel Jones already has to be like panicking. Once he panics, it's over. If he's pressured, if it's third down, it's over. He discombobulates. He cannot process fast enough on a third down. But let's say the Giants get the ball, they score, run the ball down the field, they score, gain some confidence, and the defense stops Dallas. Then it becomes a game of like, okay, is Dallas gonna wake up? Because if they don't, they're gonna lose the game. So that's my take on it. It's in New York at the Meadowlands, worst field in the NFL, as in playing surface, said by many players. I'm gonna go Cowboys, but I don't believe it's a blowout. Only if Danny Dimes does some stupid shit. Throws through 2 picks, fumbles, gets sacked 30 times. Like, if it's that type of game, then it's a blowout. But I don't think it will be. Broncos, Jets. I'm gonna go with the Jets here. I think Aaron Rodgers is finally ready to be Aaron Rodgers. From what we saw last week, he's only getting better at being mobile. Once Aaron Rodgers is fully mobile again, that's a problem because that's what Aaron Rodgers is so good at. Getting out on the boots and extending plays and has all the arm that you need for any throw and is super smart. Know what your defense is doing. Know what his guy is doing. Knows that his guy is better than your guy. Speaking about Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. Bo Nix was very encouraging last week. But I'm not going to pretend that Bo Nix is going to somehow carve up this Jets defense. First of all, his number one receiver, I don't think he should even look that way. I don't even think he should have an idea of like, I'm going to throw to Courtland Sutton because Sauce is going to be on him. So I don't, if you take a chance, maybe, throwing the DJ Reed's way. But don't take it. Don't go after one, man. Don't go after Sauce. Like, Courtland's not that type of dude to go against that type of high caliber corner and win. So I think it's going to be tough sledding for that team against that defense, that front. Quinnen, Quincy, I think, even without Hassan Reddick, I think Will McDonald has another big game. They have a good offensive line, but I just don't think that they have enough to deal with what the Jets have on defense. And then on the offensive side, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be Garrett Wilson versus Pat Surtain, and Surtain's going to travel with him. But like besides that, if I'm the Broncos, I have to get to Aaron. I have to penetrate that offensive line. Because if not, they're going to push you out of the way, and Breece Hall's going to have his way. That's what's going to happen. Now, you have Pat Surtain on Garrett Wilson, and let's say he travels with him everywhere. I still think Lazard and Gibson are enough to hurt the Broncos still. And then Breece Hall is just a wild card because he can catch a bomb. He could run for a bomb, catch a pitch and take it the distance. So, like, I'm going to go Jets there. Vikings Packers. Let me actually write this down. I didn't write it down last week, and I want to keep the record for you guys. So last week's record was, if it was positive, I wouldn't be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't positive by one game, because it was last week was kind of another tough week, especially offensively. So Cowboys, Jets. All right. Vikings Packers, really good game. Jordan Love will play. I think Jordan Love will play. Okay, he's practiced all week. I think he's going to play. Jordan Love is the reason I'm saying the Packers win this game. If it wasn't Jordan Love, it was Malik Willis, I would go with the Vikings. But I think, and this is weird because, like, when I think about the Vikings, the first thing that pops into my head before I think of Justin Jefferson, KOC, and Sam Darnold, especially this season, is that Brian Flores defense. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of names. I mean, Harrison Smith and stuff like that, but like names. You know, the name that's going to come out of there is Dallas Turner. That's who's going to come out. Dallas Turner. That's who's going to become a star. But, you know, this is B-Flow just scheming it up. Now, the thing the Packers have, one, they have Josh Jacobs in the backfield, so they can just shut it all down and just run the ball. They have a good offensive line. And also, the thing about B-Flow will try to confuse you, right? But the thing is, Jordan has all his targets are viable. There's no target that he'll look at and he's like, nah, I'm not passing the ball to him. Every single target on that offense is viable, whether it's Musgrave, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, like all of them are viable. And for a defense, I think that's very difficult. And then when I look at it on the Packers versus the Vikings side, on the defensive side, you're going to have Jair on JJ. They always have a good matchup. And then Jordan Addison's going to play this week. That's going to be the key. Because if Jordan gets off on the other side to Jair Alexander, JJ not getting much, and then Jordan goes off, the Vikings can win this game. But what I'm seeing is I think the Packers, even though this is in Lambeau, so like more in my favor. The line right now is Green Bay -3, so it's basically a home advantage game. They're saying it's a shootout, 43 and actually not 43 and a half. Probably definitely not a shootout, but it can be. But I'm gonna go with the Packers here. I think it's a closer game. I could see the Packers winning on a field goal, or like on a last 2-minute drive, possibly overtime. I don't think the Vikings are gonna wilt and just like fold. I think Sam Darnold knows what he's doing with this offense. I think KOC knows what he's doing with this offense, and I think JJ is getting more and more comfortable with Sam Darnold as quarterback. So if they can run the ball a little bit with Aaron Jones, this could be a really good game. But I'm gonna go with the Packers here. Now, for that pick, it's not I'm not like terribly confident in the Packers. It's just like the Vikings have shown to be a really good team over the first 3 weeks. So if the Vikings win, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But since Jordan Love is coming back, I think that, and it's at Lambeau, I think the Packers win that game. Saints-Falcons, very interesting game. Saints coming off a loss, Falcons coming off a tough loss. And it's in Atlanta. Let me think this through. The thing I like about Atlanta is that defense. I love Matthew Judon. Love Jesse Bates. Love Justin Simmons. Love A.J. Terrell. Great combo up front and in the back end. For the Saints, can they keep Derek from getting pressured? If he's not pressured, he's going to do great, and he's going to throw the ball over the yard. I think they could keep Rashid Shaheed intact in check. Chris Olave, on the other hand, it's going to be AJ Terrell's job. Then you still got Juwan Johnson. You got AK. It's gonna come down to, can the Atlanta Falcons stop the run? Because they're gonna run the ball with Alvin Kamara. And then on the other side, can the Saints stop the run? Because Bijan Robinson's getting the ball. And they've shown to stop the run at least these first few weeks. But it's in Atlanta. Atlanta needs a win. Kirk has been playing better. He's trying to find his playmakers. If I had to lean one side to another and I look at coaching, I like the offensive coordinator. I believe his name is Bobby Kubiak for the Saints. But I like the Atlanta head coach more in Raheem Morris. If I had to pick, and I had to pick between these two quarterbacks, I'm going Kirk. If I had to pick from the weapon cores, probably going Atlanta. Defense, probably going Atlanta. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I'm going to go with the 1-2 Falcons. They're favored 2.5 at home, so basically a home field advantage. If the Saints win, I would not be surprised. In fact, I might expect it. But since I feel like Kirk is getting his mojo back and being mobile again and being able to be himself, I think that the Falcons get this win. It's going to be close, though. Might be a shootout. But I'm going to go with the Falcons. If we go, next is Eagles-Buccaneers. I'm going with the Eagles. It's on the road. It's in Tampa. Tampa coming off a loss. I just think the Eagles D-line is going to dominate that offensive line. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. I just think that not Hargrave, he's with 49ers. I just think that it's too much. Too much for him. And then on the offensive side, I think the Buccaneers don't have enough to deal with that offensive line and don't have enough to deal with the receivers. Now, is A.J. Brown still not back? Let me see. Even Devontae Smith is questionable with a concussion. See, if both receivers, yeah. Yeah, AJ's going to play, though. He didn't practice with a hamstring today, but I think he's going to play. Because the estimated return date. So it looks like Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown is going to play. If they both play, then I think this is a wrap. I think this is a wrap. Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to play. Chris Godwin's going to play. Mike Evans is going to play. Tristan Wirfs is going to play. That's big. Tristan Wirfs playing. That's big. Lane Johnson's going to play. That's big as well. I'm going to still go with the Eagles, though. I think the Eagles have enough on both sides of the ball to not dominate this game, but, win, not comfortably, but win. Bengals-Panthers. All right, if the Bengals don't win this week, there is a panic button to press in Cincinnati. It's on the road. You're going into an environment with a team that just switched quarterbacks and won by a landslide and looked way different than they've looked the last 18 games. Riding on a high, not a lot of names that you can pick out of this Panthers roster that you're like, oh my God, because they haven't shown us anything. You have Deontay Johnson. You got Miles Sanders, but he's playing back up to Chuba Hubbard. When is Jonathan Brooks coming back? This is week 4. He's on IR, maybe next week. Deontay's going to play. Trey Hendrickson's going to play. Sheldon Rankins is going to play. B.J. Hill is going to play. Okay, so I'm going with Cincinnati because if B.J. Hill And if BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins are going to play, they're not going to be able to run the ball. So I'm going to go with the Bengals because the Panthers don't have a defense to deal with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They just don't. It's just a fact. It's just, they do not. It doesn't matter if you put J.C. Horn and you believe in J.C. Horn. Jamar and Joe Burrow are going to be like, J.C. Horn? Yeah, we're going to cook you. And that's probably what will happen. So I'm going with the Bengals. Going with a lot of road teams. Actually, no, Packers are at home. Falcons are at home. So maybe Cowboys are on the road, though. So we're going with the Bengals here. Now, Jaguars, Texans, we're going with the Texans. I don't think the Jaguars can recover in 1 week about what happened with the Bills. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, literally, like, I just don't think that they can recover. And if they do, it'd be very surprising in Houston. CJ coming off a bad loss. If we look at the injury report, Joe Mixon is coming back. Jimmy Ward is going to play. Tank Dell's playing. Nico Collins is playing. Evan Ingram is coming back for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's pretty good. Gabe Davis is playing. Oluokun is doubtful, though. That's their middle linebacker, so that's going to hurt. I think this is the Texans. This is the Texans. I'm sorry for you Jaguars fans. Listen, like I said at the beginning, like Trevor Lawrence, like, you got to show something, bro. You have talent there. You got Christian Kirk. You got Brian Thomas now. You got Evan Ingram. Like, you need to show something. You got Travis Etienne. Like, you need to show that you can compete at the quarterback level. Like, it's just what you need to do. So I'm going to go Texans there. Next, Steelers, Colts. All right, listen. I know that they're going to the Loud House. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Pat McAfee, the Loud House. But, man, you ain't doing nothing to TJ Watt, man. Listen, I love that offensive line. I love Braden Smith. I love Quentin Nelson. Like, I love that offensive line. But they're not doing nothing to DJ Watt, bro. Like, if they're able to run the ball with JT, I give them a chance. But if AR can't hit the side of a barn this week, bro, Porter Jr., Minkah Fitzpatrick, I mean, these guys are going to hunt him down when he throws the ball up. And we look at who's hurt. We have Jaylen Warren. He's going to play. Russell is questionable. His estimated return date is this weekend, but I think they're still going to play Justin Fields, according to Tomlin. Ryan Kelly, the center, is going to play for the Colts. Kenny Moore's going to play. Kwity Paye is going to play. Chris Lamons is going to play. Their cornerback has come back. So they got everybody. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I guess I don't believe in Justin Fields, and this is a good defense. But at the same time, you have TJ Watt to worry about. Then you have Cameron Hayward. Then you have Hurdig. Then you got Highsmith. And you still got Minkah. You still got JP Jr. So, like, in my humble opinion, and I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys know this, but I have to be a objective football analyst here and tell you the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning this game. And it might be gruesome defensively. Do I believe Indiana could stop this offense? Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe this Indiana defense can really get after it, but you can't stop TJ. So it's going to be a low-scoring game, plays into the hands of Pittsburgh right there, and, from there, the massacre begins, especially in the second half. So unless you pull away and you literally keep them, at arms, longer that arm's length, 10, 12, 15, 16-point lead, Steelers defense is going to find a way. So that's that game. Next, we have Rams-Bears. All right. Even with the Rams, all their injuries, even with all, and it's a pick'em game, 49.7% versus 49.9%. Wow, literally split down the middle. Okay, Puka Nakua not playing. Cooper Kupp not playing. Their guard is not playing. John Johnson's not playing. Kevin Byard's playing. Keenan Allen's playing. Rome Odunze's playing. Darrell Taylor's playing. And Braxton Jones. Listen, if Chicago can't win this week against this weakened receiving core for the Rams without their two top guys and, holes in the offensive line at home with everybody healthy, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to pick the Bears. And I'm going out on a long-ass limb, okay? I'm prepared to think and predict that Caleb Williams has a Jaden Daniels type of coming out party against this defense. Now, they're going to have to run the ball. They have to give the ball to DeAndre Swift. They cannot, and Khalil Herbert. They cannot get away from that. They can't throw the ball 53 times a game. It's just not sustainable. But I think the Bears have so much on the offensive side of the ball that it's just too much for the Rams right now, even with Stafford. So I'm going to go out on a giant limb and pick the Bears at home. And the Bears are favored by 3 points. So, my argument stands. Patriots 40, Commanders Cardinals. All right, all of a sudden, super interesting game. You have a Washington defense that can't stop a cold. A Washington defense that can't stop a cold. We saw it with the Bengals. Versus a Cardinals defense that, frankly, can't stop a cold. Kyler versus Jaden Daniels. Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Terry McLaurin. James Conner versus Brian Robinson. Injuries. Jamison Crowder going to play. Benjamin St. Juste is going to play. Sam Cosmi's going to play. Khalil Farrell not playing. Austin Eckler not playing with the concussion. Trey McBride's going to play. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play. Justin Jones not playing. Kelvin Beachum is going to play. Kyrus Tonga is going to play. 2-1 versus 1-2 in Arizona. As much as I love Jaden and what he's done, he doesn't have another legit weapon on that offense. As for Kyler, he has Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr., and he likes Greg Dortch and James Conner can catch off the backfield. Right now, the line is Arizona minus 3.5. And I think Arizona wins this game. Now, it's going to be close, but I think Jaden is going to keep improving and being better. And if they win, oh boy, that Rookie of the Year talk is going to start. So, right now I think it's Malik Neighbors, but as in the rookies. But yeah, I'm gonna go Arizona here. I just think that at home with Kyler, Marvin Harrison Jr. need a win to get back to 2-2 and get back to 500 against a team that doesn't have a very legit defense and that you could take advantage of the back end. I think that that just that goes into the advantage of the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm going to go Cardinals at home. Next is Patriots 49ers. We're going 49ers here. No McCaffrey, I get it. Hunter Henry going to play. Seton Wall is going to play. Jonathan Jones is going to play. Anthony Jennings is going to play. Christian Gonzalez is going to play. Christian McCaffrey is not playing. Curtis Robinson is going to play. Jacob Cowing is going to play. Jordan Elliott is going to play. George Kittle will play. That George Kittle piece is very important because if George Kittle's going to play, that means that they're going to block. New England cannot pass the ball for their life. Okay? And against this defense, it's going to be even less. I think that Jacoby Brissett's going to be under duress all game long from Bosa, from Hargrave, all game long. I don't see no let up. I'm going with the 49ers confidently in this game, and it's in Santa Clara. So I'm going with the 49ers to get back to 500 against the Patriots. Browns Raiders, boy, talk about a toilet bowl. Listen, if I have to be honest, and I'm talking about honest, if we look at the injuries for each team, Myles Garrett gonna play, Jerome Ford gonna play, Pierre Strong gonna play, David Njoku's gonna play, Jordan Hicks is gonna play, Max Crosby's playing, Devontae Adams is playing. Kainai Mawaga is playing. Diablo's playing. And Marcus Epps is on IR, so he's not playing. Listen, from terrible to worse, just because they're at home, they're a 2.5-point favorite, I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders. Because Cleveland, 1, doesn't have Nick Chubb, 2, doesn't have 2 of their offensive linemen, and Deshaun Watson has just not been playing well, I think the Raiders win this game. Now, if the Raiders lose this game, trade Devontae. Get him out of there. He needs a better place. He's a much better player to be playing on a team that at that point would be at 1-3 already. Now, my idea for this team is either go get somebody for the quarterback position or play Aiden O'Connell. That's it. That's my advice. Other than that, you guys are a shit show on offense. And it's embarrassing with the talent you have. On defense, you haven't gotten after the quarterback, even with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby. Maybe with Diablo now coming back, maybe that changes. But even with Myles Garrett and that top-tier defense on Cleveland, Cleveland's defense can win this game, honestly. But I'm going with the Raiders just because I think that at home they'll have some juice. Deshaun's not playing well, and they'll get it done. So I'm going with the Raiders. It's kind of going on a limb there, a little bit of going on a limb there, but I'm going with the Raiders. Next game is Chiefs-Chargers. You know what we're going here with. We're going with the Chiefs, baby. Listen, it's the first time Jim Harbaugh and Andy Reid are going to face each other. But if we look at this injury report for the Chargers and so Mike Dana questionable, he'll play. Pacheco not playing. Hollywood Brown not playing. Man, he's such a tough loss. Kyle Edwards-Helaire not playing. B.J. Thompson not playing. Darius Davis is playing. Justin Herbert is going to play. Hayden Hurst is playing. Junior Colson is playing, and Joey Bosa is playing. So based on the injury report, you'd think that, the Chargers, it's in SoFi. But there is no way that Patrick Mahomes just doesn't play better. He's torched the Chargers in his career. Torched them. Kittle has had giant games against them. Do I expect Kittle to have a big game? Maybe. But like Patrick Mahomes said, he had a safety, a linebacker, and a corner looking at him on a third down play. He couldn't get it to him. But he got it to Noah Gray for 15 yards. So that's the Travis Kelce effect, like I said. I'm going with the Chiefs. The Chargers got nothing for that defense, man. Nothing for that defense. Chris Jones, Cook, Bolton, nothing for that defense. Absolutely nothing. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Might be a close game because the Chiefs haven't been able to move the ball around, but maybe Xavier Worthy gets into the flow now. So we'll see, but I'm going with the Chiefs. And then finally, because I'm not going to pick the Monday night games today, I'm doing that on Monday when I record the Tuesday podcast. Bills-Ravens. Boy, what a tough game to pick. Ravens are favored minus 2.5. It's in Baltimore. Terrell Bernard not playing for the Bills. Tylen Grabble, the offensive tackle, not playing. Kyrie Elam playing. Teron Johnson not playing. Travis Clayton not playing. Andrew Voorhees playing. Tyler Lindenbaum playing. Maleasala Aumave Laulu playing. Jalen Armour Davis playing. Rasheen Ali not playing. Okay, guys. Arguably the best team in the NFL at this point in the season, 3 weeks in, against a good defense versus Lamar Jackson. If I'm being honest, this is going to come down to, can they stop Derrick Henry? That's it. That's what it's going to come down to. Not having Teron Johnson is going to hurt him because Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, someone's going to be open. And I love the Ravens. But the way Buffalo is playing, and I love that Ravens defense, but the way Buffalo is playing, I think I'm rolling Buffalo. In a close game, maybe a field goal game at the end from Tyler Bass. But I'm going Buffalo just because, they're playing way too well, too confident. The Ravens have to get a running game established. They have to get Lamar in the passing game going. And I think the Bills are just playing too well. I might eat my words, though. I love the Ravens, but I might eat my word. And they're at home, but I think I'm going with the Bills. All right, so that's NFL until Monday. Now, let's get to the last thing, which is MLB. The last final games are happening. The last 3 games of the season. That's what's left. The standings as they stand right now. New York Yankees, Baltimore, playing right now. Yankees win today, they clinch the division. And I believe get the bye. Cleveland already clinched. Houston already clinched. Seattle's eliminated. KC's still in it. Detroit is still in it. Minnesota's still in it. Boston got eliminated. Phillies clinched the division. Mets are still in it. Atlanta's still in it. Washington's eliminated. Milwaukee clinched the division. Everybody in that division is eliminated. And then LA Dodgers clinched the playoff berth. They haven't clinched the division yet. They're facing the Padres as we speak as well. The Padres are 3 games back. And Arizona hasn't clinched the playoff spot yet because they're fighting with Atlanta and the Mets. That's what we're looking at. In the wild card, it is very simple. Baltimore's in. KC, Detroit, Minnesota. KC and Detroit are tied, as we speak, 2.5 games above Minnesota. I think it's going to stay KC, Detroit. KC kind of wrote the ship a little bit. They've won 3 in a row, even though they're 3-7 in the last 10. They've wrote the ship a little bit, and then Detroit have won 5 in a row, and they're 9-1 in their last 10. So I think it's going to be Baltimore, KC, Detroit, and Minnesota is going to stay out. And in the National League, San Diego's already in, and it's Mets, Diamondbacks, Atlanta, and Atlanta's 1 game behind the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have to win 3 more games to get the playoff spot. So do the Mets. I think it's going to stay Mets, Arizona, Atlanta, although I could see Atlanta jumping one of these teams. But I think Arizona and the Mets are gonna stay in it. And that's it, guys. 3 more games or 5 more games, and it's done. Tarek Skubal is leading the Triple Crown as we speak. Actually, no, Tarek Skubal's a 100th away from being better than Chris Sale. 238 versus 239, but they're both getting Triple Crowns in each of their leagues. Tarek Skubal has 18 wins, so does Chris Sale. Helsley tied the record for St. Louis Cardinals history for 48 saves. Skubal has Sale on strikeouts by 3. He's at 228 to Sale's 225. And Cease got to 224. Reagan's at 223, and Wheeler got to 213. Other notable pitchers that got to 200, Yusei Kikuchi did it yesterday. Logan Gilbert did it 2 days ago. Sonny Gray did it. Garrett Crochet did it. Michael King did it. Freddie Peralta did it. Jack Flaherty got close. He's at 194. Carlos Rodon got close at 190. Aaron Nola got close at 190. Lopez got close. Pablo, he got close at 190. And those are the people that got to 190. So 10 away. That's it, guys. That's all that's left. That's all that's left in baseball. Basketball, we're getting cooking. Training camp is about to ramp up. We're going to get preseason here soon. In October, we're cooking, and we're looking for Zion, Ja, Ant, Shea, Dame. We're looking for them people to really step up this year. Really show, what they have. Vic, Victor, Giannis with, coming back to prove something after the injuries and stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting year. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the other sports, guys. I love you guys. God bless you. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on all my socials. Comment. And I leave you all with the outro.
El Exec, el Exec, el Exec. El Vele, el Vele, el Vele. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.